welcome to Boropod. We've got a bank holiday special, but the unbeaten run has come to an end, and we've got a couple of games to talk about, and we've got two guests with us. Nick, welcome back. I say welcome back. You're part of the furniture now. I don't even know why I'm welcoming you back, but good to have you on.
Good to be here again. Unfortunately, not in the best of circumstances after Saturday, but we move.
Absolutely. And we've also got Aaron. Aaron, good to have you on.
Great. Yeah, good. I mean, I can never do back-to-back episodes. You know that. That's I'm part-time around here. But
I mean, I can't speak about missing episodes. So
you've been on a roll recently, Greg.
I know, and it's not for much longer. This is my last one for a few weeks at least. So yeah. Sorry, Nate, you're going to be annoyed by that, but never mind. Let's before we get into Saturday, and I know that's the game that's fresh in everyone's memory. I think we should look going back to last Tuesday. Port Vale 1, Stevenage 2. We won't go through this in loads and loads of detail, but I think it's worth definitely discussing. I made notes because I always make notes when I've got to host these things, and my note was basically Jamie Reid's good this year, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right.
Scoring goals are fun. Nick, you weren't there, I don't think.
But... I wasn't there. No, I didn't put myself in a position of visiting Burslem, but I did watch it on the telly box, and I think we can all agree it wasn't a great performance for 85, probably pushing 87 minutes, and then a few sub changes, a shape change, and suddenly we look like a completely different team for the last 8 minutes of that fixture, which is pretty refreshing.
Yeah, Port Vale were largely on top for the majority of the game. I think we hit the post in the first half. I think Jamie Reid hit the post. Can't remember exactly what minute it was, but relatively early on. But after that, it kind of felt like one of those games that was just going to peter out to finish 1-0, and we'll move on to Saturday. But yeah, 87 minutes. It was two long throws, I think, for both goals as well. Both came from long throws, which feels very old school Stevenage rather than this new Stevenage variant. But Aaron, what was your thoughts on last Tuesday?
Yeah, like you said, it kind of did just feel like one of those games where, okay, fair enough, it's slipping away from us. We had a good start, but it comes to an end here on a Tuesday night in Burslem, and I was ready for the game to be over. I almost turned it off, to be honest. But I think when we saw Gassan and Reedy for the first time together, that obviously showed that I think that's going to work going forwards. Obviously, we saw it a little bit on Saturday, I believe. But it just made such a difference to Reedy's play, I feel like, because he wasn't then the only man up front. He could sort of bounce off of Gassan, winning the aerial duels, and Reedy just absolutely came alive in that last 5-10 minutes or so, and that's what Reedy does best, and scores two cracking finishes, to be fair.
Yeah, the first one in particular was a cracker. It absolutely put his laces through that one. But I mean, they were both from sort of similar positions, but I actually think the turn and shot of his weaker foot was actually probably even a better goal than the one he absolutely lashed with the first one. So it was great to see, and something that I was thinking this last Tuesday and Wednesday. I can't remember the last time we had a comeback win like that. It feels like it probably isn't, but it feels to me like a really long time ago since we've been able to kind of grab something out of nowhere.
I think you're going back to the 22-23 promotion season where we went on a spell of scoring goals in like the 90+ minute. I remember something like a goal away at Walsall that Danny Rose scored. And we had a spell at the start of that season where we were scoring late goals after late goals, but that wasn't feeling like we'd gone behind and we'd been playing poorly, and suddenly in the last 5 minutes we came alive. That very much, a lot of those games felt like we were digging really deep. It just wasn't falling for us, and then in those final minutes we just take advantage of a lack of concentration or a little bit of quality, whether it be from Reedy or whether it be from Rose, or even Norris at the time as well. So yeah, it adds on to what we were saying last week around we're winning games in different ways. And actually, before we move on, I thought we might have had another moment like that on Saturday, with how the last few minutes were going at Huddersfield. It just wasn't quite to be.
Yeah. Well, that's I think a perfect segue into Saturday. Let's get into it because I mean it's the game that obviously is most recent in the memory. But let's have a look at the lineups. So Stevenage made just the one change. Chem Campbell coming in for Felix Patterson, who obviously started on Tuesday, which was one change from that Tuesday game. But it seems like it's a pretty settled 11, really. I mean, the Port Vale game, as I say, we played Phoenix, but realistically, everything else has been pretty unchanged. Marshall in goal, Luther James Wilden right back, Good, Piergiani and Butler completing the back four. Houghton and White in the middle with front four of Roberts. I'm just going to say Roberts. I'm not going to differentiate him because you know it's Jordan. Dan Kemp, Chem Campbell, and Jamie Reid up front. Huddersfield. I mean, I think the squad they've got on paper, we all know them. The money that they spent and the man who made the decisive difference with the goal was a £1.2 million signing. So we know the talent they have. I won't go through their entire squad, their entire team. For those on YouTube, you can see it. Stats wise. Look, possession-wise, I think Huddersfield, understandably and not surprisingly, had the lion's share of it. Shots were pretty close, 12 to 11 in Huddersfield's favour. Pass percentage, 80% to 71%, again in Huddersfield's favour. They lost the aerial duel against us, which I don't think is, again, too much of a huge surprise. Had more corners. But let's get into it. You guys were both there. I wasn't. I've not really seen anything at all with this game. So I'm not going to give any real massive opinions and apologies in advance for that. But you were both there. Aaron, how did the game go? What was the 90 minutes like?
Yeah, it was kind of exactly what I expected. You go into Huddersfield and straight away you look at the lineup and you've just seen there Alfie May, Marcus Harness, Lasse Sorensen at right back, and you're just thinking, well, if we can even scrape a draw here, it's like a massive achievement. So I think overall, obviously we'll break it down in a second, but overall a 1-0 loss away at Huddersfield has absolutely no complaints from my perspective. I think Stevenage sides of the past would have maybe gone there and been beat 3 or 4, 5 even. So I think just to see the fact that we know what we're coming up against and we've limited them just to the one goal, and it was a scrappy goal to concede, really. So if that's the only way that they can beat us, then I have absolutely no complaints from that at all.
Yeah, I mean, you've named some of the players who had absolute storming games for them. I mean, Sorensen was absolutely fantastic for them. I think Herbie Kane and Wiles through that middle were just controlling everything, and I think that meant that White and Houghton had pretty difficult games, not through any disservice to their ability, but when you're up against players like that, it's incredibly difficult to get hold of the ball. We could talk about whether Phillips should have been in there from the start, but I think it's margins in reality compared to how we actually played on the day. Yeah, I think I was graced with the access to the Twitter account on Saturday, and I think the only way I could sum up the first half was very much just showing that momentum of it was all one way for that first 45 minutes. I think we were probably lucky to go in 0-0 at half time. But again, as we've shown time and time again, I think we came out of the blocks for the second half relatively strong. We won our first 2 corners straight off the bat and then hit that lull period again until the last kind of 10-15 minutes. So I think we put on a good show as a Stevenage team. But I think it also then kind of puts us a bit more back into reality of where we should expect to finish this year. Because you have got teams like Huddersfield who are jam-packed. I mean, they were putting Joe Taylor on the pitch as a sub. And I can't remember how many goals he got for Lincoln a couple of years back, but he is a solid League One striker that I'm sure we would have been more than happy if we had him at any point during the last couple of years. So, yeah, something to be proud of. Take some positives away, but also some stuff that we could probably work on when they come to visit us later in the season.
I think we all said in our predictions, or at least most of us, that Huddersfield are going to go and win the league. And after seeing them Saturday in the flesh, I think my opinion doesn't change in the slightest. I'll be shocked if they don't, at the very least, get automatic promotion. So sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and just say fair play.
Yeah, the season's not going to be defined by a 1-0 pretty narrow loss. I mean, it probably could have been more. I'm guessing in terms of the chances and that they had, but the season's not going to be defined by that. It is about how you bounce back. Just with there was one thing I was following on Twitter because I wasn't able to watch the game, wasn't able to be there or watch it in any other way. But Darren Drysdale was referee. And Nate's kindly put, for those on YouTube, very nice banner of incompetent or bored twat. I mean, you could be both, I guess. But he didn't try and have a fight with any player, to my knowledge, anyway. Any players. So I mean, I will call that progress. Was he as bad as Twitter was suggesting?
He wasn't great. I think Drysdale was obviously one of the worst we've seen. But I think he represents what's very much wrong with EFL officiating these days generally. I mean, the prime example was the Marshall giving away a corner from holding on to it for 8 seconds. And in reality, for 2 of those seconds at the start, there was a Huddersfield player standing in front of him. So he couldn't do anything with it. And then you get to the second half and Goodman, wasting time, picks the ball up and jumps on the floor. And he waits until he's stood back up before he starts counting for the exact same rule. And I think he was absolutely itching to give the one against us with Marshall. And then very quickly had changed his approach in the second half. And it's Drysdale. I think everyone has their own bones to pick with him. But I think he just sums up officiating across the board, especially what we've seen in other games this year. So in response to Nate's question, I would say incompetent and a bald twat.
Sorry, Aaron. I was just going to say it's one of those things you see a lot in football, as you said, but it's that inconsistency part is the thing that annoys me the most out of all of this. I have no problem with a referee making a decision because he genuinely thinks that player's been fouled or whatever it might be, and it might be wrong. But you just got to look at that. It was an Everton game against Leeds with the handball, and it's just who's watching that over and over again and saying that is a handball? It's just not. But the inconsistency, there was about 4 or 5 I've seen this weekend, or clips I've seen this weekend of players handballing in very similar situations, and they're never given. So the inconsistency part, I think, does my head in more than anything. Sorry, Aaron.
No, I was just saying the bloke lives for blowing his whistle. He just, like Nick was saying, he's just itching to make it about himself or just make a decision that gets fans off their seats. And it's just, it winds me up every time we get him. But
yeah, don't get me wrong. We didn't lose the game because of Darren Drysdale, but he certainly ruins elements of the entertainment of football matches with how he takes control of games. Because there were so many moments in that game where you just think either let it play on or it's a contact sport and he's just itching to make some decision. And in some cases, he went the complete opposite way, and where there was an obvious foul, he just let it go. I don't know how many times Reedy got wrestled to the ground and he didn't give anything, and then the tiniest little nick on a player 2 seconds later is suddenly a foul. I know you sometimes have to play to the refs these days, but when they're so, like you say, when they're so inconsistent, you don't know what side you're going to get.
Yeah. Just moving on, because I think we've talked enough about that dickhead. So let's move on. How do we set up obviously from a formation perspective? It was very similar to what we've seen pretty much all season. But when you go away to Huddersfield or a team like Huddersfield, you kind of expect certainly Stevenage of old anyway, certainly a bit more of a game plan of how you're going to break Huddersfield down or in many ways probably try and frustrate them and nick something. So was there any differences that you saw with how we set up against Huddersfield compared to not necessarily the Port Vale, but any of the other games this season, or was it very much sort of what we've seen, just been beaten by the better team on the day?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was sort of backs against the wall for most of it. We kind of just had to weather the storm for a lot of it. I think it's hard to go into a game plan against a team that are just that good on the ball and going forward. So we had to kind of just feed off scraps and just get whatever we can. In terms of a game plan, it was more just let's hold back and just try and weather the storm and see what we can create from it, kind of thing.
I think it does open the question in terms of, I think back to the Evans season. I'm definitely not saying we should be going back to playing how Evans had us playing football, but one of the things he was very good at is looking at a fixture away from home and changing the shape or changing our style to lend to the kind of game we're going to be in. And I think probably the last Tuesday night and on Saturday, and even actually against Charlton, when we were away from home and we switched to a back three and we got bodies up the pitch and we played a lot more direct, we did look a lot more effective. And I wonder if that tells us that maybe in the to start off these games away from home, where we're going to be likely out of possession majority of the time, going for a Hadmay and Reed as a front two and playing with a back three could be an approach that sees us take the lead in those kind of games rather than feeling like we're always chasing it. But we've only seen 10-15 minutes of that kind of play over the last kind of 3 away fixtures, so it's something to think about. It might be an opportunity for us to do in future games, but it does beg the question as to maybe do we need to be a bit more adaptable from the start in some of these away fixtures?
Or even if you're looking at, I was actually thinking more in action in personnel. When you mentioned Dan Phillips earlier, Harvey White is, we know what Harvey White can bring to a game, but if it's a game where you're not getting the lion's share of possession, or you can't really put in that kind of influence on it, then someone like Dan Phillips is someone who can break up a midfield, and you might not have seen that same level of dominance from Kane and Ledson by having someone like Dan Phillips in there. Which it would have been interesting, even if we kept it similar from a formation perspective and from a game plan perspective, even just personnel-wise changing it might sometimes make that kind of difference. But yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes in some games, and certainly with a team like Huddersfield, I mean, you look through their 11, it's full of championship talent, really, let's be honest. And they've picked up players like Joe Lowe, who was one of the best centre-halves in League One last year for Wickham. They've Sorensen, I know he was there last year, but he was, I think, Lincoln before that, and one of the best players they had. And it's sometimes you do have to respect the opposition and set up a little bit differently. And it's interesting to see, we didn't really seem to do that. In terms of the changes we made, Phoenix Patterson came on just before the hour for Jordan Roberts, which is a slight surprise. Usually Jordan gets a little bit longer than that, but and then there was 3 changes made around the 70-minute mark. So Phillips on for Houghton, Hadmay came on for Campbell, and that's where they moved to the sort of 2 up front. And Dan Sweeney came on for Dan Butler. But I mean, none of those changes necessarily made any major impact. And then after that, you've kind of got defenders on the bench, so it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Hadmay is a forward and Patterson's a winger, but I feel like we might be missing an attacking option maybe that you could throw on if you're chasing a game, because you're kind of relying on the same 2 players, what it feels like anyway. Someone like a Patterson is not really someone you want to be bringing on when you're chasing a game, certainly not against Huddersfield.
I know he's young, but it does feel like in time, Mateus Roberts will be that sort of player that we can rely on in those last 20 minutes. I know we saw him in a brief spell against Charlton. He loves to get the ball. He likes to take on players, and he likes to feed others into the game. And I think if we can get him up to scratch it for League One football, you've got to remember he's never played senior football before. He's only played kids football. So I think the first couple of months, it'll be a case of just getting to grips with how League One defenders are and his teammates and things. And in time, hopefully he can be that player we can bring off the bench.
Yeah. Let's talk about the goal. Aaron, you mentioned it was a bit scrappy. Where do we think that could have been avoided? Was it one of those ones? Was it scrappy goals and you can't always do something about it? But as someone who hasn't seen it, tell me a little bit more about the goal and where it went wrong for us.
Yeah, it was kind of scrappy. I mean, the ball just gets played into Alfie May, who you can't let Alfie May have the ball within 10 yards of the goal, especially in the middle of the goal. And unfortunately, that's just exactly where it was. Defenders are falling over next to him, trying to just stick a foot in. Harvey White made a quick block on the line, but knowing our luck, the ball just falls straight back to Alfie May, who then slots into an empty net. It's a tough one to concede, because you see the block on the line and you think, oh my God, we've stopped it, but then it just falls straight back to him, and he's going to make no mistake then. So I don't know where to place the blame, if there is anyone to place the blame. I mean, Nick might maybe have an answer there, but yeah, it just looks scrappy overall, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a very similar pattern of play from Huddersfield that we'd actually seen the entire game. Really, was very much getting into wide areas quickly, looking for those balls across the box, and asking questions of your goalkeeper and equally your defensive line. So I think, again, had real shades of Charlton when we were in the original 4-2-3-1, where Butler was getting overloaded, especially when you got Harness and Sorensen down that side, really kind of doubling up on him essentially. I think that's probably where in the first half we got away with it a bit, and they weren't as clinical when it got into the box. But that was the opportunity, and Alfie May really needed the one chance to bury it. And like Aaron said, as soon as he gets the ball deep inside the box, with pretty much the entire goal to aim at, he's scoring that every single day of the week. So, yeah, you could say it's a tactical thing. You could argue, is there things players could have done better? But I think again, it was a quality gap that led to them ultimately getting that goal.
It's never a good time to concede, let's be honest. But conceding with 25 minutes to go away to Huddersfield is a tough spot to put yourself in. You concede early, you can always try and got enough time to bring something back. But yeah, with 25 to go, I mean, the changes followed less than 5 minutes later. So it's it was always going to be a bit of an uphill battle from there. One thing I didn't talk about when we were talking about the Port Vale game is the fact that Philip Marshall's made a save as a Stevenage keeper. Took to the fourth game for it to happen. They had 6 shots on target on Saturday, so he was pretty busy as well again on Saturday. So just want to talk a bit about Marshall, because there's been a few times I've seen him and have been a bit uneasy. Certainly the Blackpool game, I wasn't convinced at all. I mean, granted, he'd only signed, I think, 48 hours before, but how do you feel he's settling in and how he's working with the back four? Because that was a big problem with Tay last year when he was playing, is the back four just looked really unsettled.
I mean, I think the defence look more comfortable, and slightly worrying for Tay if that's only a handful of games into Marshall's career with us. But I mean, like you say, he hadn't made a save up until Port Vale. He made 5 in the Port Vale game. He made 4 on Saturday, and actually was probably one of the main men that kept us in the game on Saturday, minus the 8-second corner. That was the only thing you'd argue he might have done wrong, but he's looking better with his feet. He's looking more confident with it at his feet. His distribution seems to be improving every week, and we saw in the games that he'd started already that his commanding of his area and coming for crosses is one of his strengths. So he's looking like a good pickup. Hopefully it just continues, and some of those small areas that you see that ultimately haven't really gone punished. Sorry. He gets those out of his game over the course of the season. So yeah, looks pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen improvements in each game, to be honest. On Saturday, he had to make a couple of really good saves, and ultimately that kept it to 0-0 or 1-0. Yeah, like Nick says, his distribution on Saturday I thought wasn't too bad at all. He's got a hell of a kick on him. I think there's a couple of times it even just went over everyone and straight over to the opposite keeper. So he's obviously got that in his locker, and he's 6'5", 6'6". So when corners are coming in, you're looking at him straight away to claim it, and 9 times out of 10 he has, to be fair. So hopefully in each game he just gets better and better.
And even went up for a corner in the last minute as well, so he might even get a goal to that this season.
I'd love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that.
He won a header, didn't he? Yeah, but it was just like on the edge of the area, just throwing himself into it.
Genuinely can't remember the last. I think apart from Jesse Yorinen scoring from about the other end of the pitch.
Yeah.
Can't remember the last time a Stevenage keeper went up for a corner and scored. That feels like a long time ago. So I would love to see that at some point this season. So look, I mean the winning run is obviously over. I kind of felt, again, obviously wasn't watching, but kind of felt like it was a bit of a shot to nothing in this game anyway. If you'd given me third place, 4 wins from 5, I would have absolutely snapped your hand off the first 5 games. But as Nate kindly told us a few weeks ago, the first 5 games mean absolutely nothing. So the rest of the season to come is where it's going to get interesting and bouncing back. We'll in regards to bouncing back, we've obviously got Wickham on Saturday. We'll come to that in a minute. But let's go around the league with the League One scores to start with, which I should hopefully have. Here we go. So we've got Rotherham Wigan finished 2-2. Luton losing at home to Cardiff, which is always funny. Losing 1-0 at home. Mansfield 4, Orient 1, also funny. Northampton 2, Exeter 0. Peterborough 1, Bradford 1. Plymouth got their first win, beating Blackpool, who really, really struggling after they picked up a good result, I think, last week, but losing again. They're right down there again. Port Vale losing at home again, this time to Doncaster by a goal to 0. Stockport 2, Burton 1. Wickham 2, Reading 2. Wimbledon 2, Barnsley 0. Bolton 1, Lincoln 1. And obviously Huddersfield 1, Stevenage 0. Some interesting results in there. There's the teams down the bottom end in particular. I mean, don't seem to be able to. I mean, Wickham themselves are right down there, and we play them on Saturday. It's going to be very interesting to see how that game goes. But any scorelines here that surprised you, or?
I thoroughly enjoyed Bradford getting overexcited at being 1-0 up and thinking that their chickens were going to be pecking for Peterborough to go and score in the last minute. I think what we've seen over the last probably 2 or 3 games is we all had predictions. I think we all stuck Cardiff a lot lower. We stuck the likes of Plymouth. I think a fair few of us had a lot higher, evidently from where they've been. Luton, I think we had them winning the league. A lot of these teams that have dropped down have really taken their time to get off the mark. And while they might pick up at the back end of the season, I think everyone just expected a lot of those teams to be picking up the points from day one. And actually, this is the opportunity for us and other teams that might be looking to finish mid-table to pick up these points against these sides when they're still really trying to get used to what in reality is most of them very, very different squads. Ironically, Cardiff are very, very similar to what they were last year, and they're the ones that are up there with, well, have they won all their games now? Apart from one.
All but one, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a reminder that the league might be very, very good, but there are always opportunities at different points in the season to nick unexpected points.
Even they're not turning away teams as much as I thought they would. I know they won on the opening day 2-0 against Bolton. But you just saw there, they 2-1 at home to Burton Albion. Okay, they had a man sent off. But I think they lost at home to Bradford as well and drew to Leyton Orient. So, like, they're not having an amazing start, which I thought they would, but you'd expect them to sort of turn it on in the latter stages of the season.
Yeah, there's definitely some teams in that bottom 4, well, not even bottom 4, probably bottom 7, 8, for example, who I would expect come the end of the season to be way better off. To the table as it stands at the moment, Cardiff are top, 4 wins from 5, just a 1 draw, so they're 1 point ahead of Huddersfield, who are now in second, and we moved down to third. Both teams on 12 points. Bradford have had a really, really good start on their return to League One. Unbeaten, 3 wins, 2 draws, 11 points in 4th. Stockport in 5th on 10 points. Barnsley in 6th, also on 10 points. Lincoln 7th, also 10 points. And Doncaster also having a strong start to their return to League One in 8th. And then you've got Mansfield 9th, Wimbledon 10th, Luton nicely cushioned in mid-table, which is good to see. Wigan 12th, Leyton Orient 13th, Exeter 14th, Bolton 15th, Burton 16th, Rotherham 17th, Northampton 18th. Plymouth climb out of the bottom 4 into 19th with that win against Blackpool, overleap them into 19th. Blackpool in 20th, and then the bottom 4, Wickham, Port Vale, Reading and Peterborough, which I won't lie, if it ended that way, would be quite funny. So I'd enjoy that. Peterborough rock bottom with just 1 point so far. They look like they are really, really struggling this year. And there's a week to go until the window shuts. I'm sure there'll be some business that they look to do, but they do not look in good form at all, which is pretty much, I think we all said they were going to struggle. I don't know if many of us said they were going to finish bottom, but most of us, I think, had them in maybe flirting with a relegation zone.
Like most years, they've lost their big players, but this year they haven't really seemed to replace them, and they're kind of running with this really young squad, and they're going to have to turn it around pretty quickly. I know you said obviously they've got another week in the window. They're going to have to bring in some experienced sort of League One players to actually start competing now.
Absolutely. Before we move on to Wickham, Nick's got a quiz for us.
Oh,
I
yes.
do.
It's gonna be a head-to-head.
I have done some plenty of prep for this. There are some very important rules to remember, and there are some very exciting rounds to come. So it's very much based on tenable
Okay.
with a slight twist. So there are 3 rounds. The way that we're going to run each round is you will go alternate to try and pick up points. Each round you'll have 2 lives. If you say an answer that is not in the top 10, you will lose a life. Once your lives are gone, you're out. If your opponent still has lives to go, they can keep going to try and fill the grid or until they run out of lives. So there are 30 points in total up for grabs. The way we're going to pick who goes first in each round is a closest to on Borough League appearances. And I have picked 3 very special players out for that. So without further ado, we will start with the first closest to. I will explain the category each round. But first and foremost, we'll do a closest to Borough League appearances for the one and only Ben Coker. Who wants to guess first?
Just total appearances. Cup
Total
and league.
league appearances.
League appearances. Okay.
League appearances.
I
What is he
don't mind going
seasons?
first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say 76.
Okay.
I think it's slightly lower. I'm going to go 58.
So Greg is closest. His actual league appearance is 74. Greg was just 2 off there. The first round, before you decide if you want to go first or second, is Borough League 2 top goal scorers. Just League 2. I have 10 names. The way that the ranking is worked is if they're tied for goals, it's based on their goals per game. But each one's a point anyway, so I will let you know where they are, but they're all equal to a point. Greg, would you want to guess first, or would you like Aaron to guess first for this round?
I'll guess first.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. I'll guess first. And I'll start with Jamie Reid.
He is 8th on the list with 16 goals in League 2.
He only scores League 1 goals. That's it.
Yeah, I've got lucky. With
I'll get Matty Godden on there.
Matty Godden is top of the list with 30. Over to Greg.
Okay, I'm going to go with Elliot List.
Elliot List, he is 6th on the list. Aaron?
Danny Newton.
Danny Newton is there. He is 4th. He scored 26 goals in League 2 in total.
I'm going to go... Just thinking 16 is 8th, and that's not a very big number. I'm going to go with John Mousinho.
That is incorrect. He's 17th on the list with 7 goals. That's your first life
7?
gone.
Oh,
He's only scored 7 in League 2.
Surely Curtis Guthrie scored more than 12 goals.
Did we score 12 goals when he played? For us?
That's a great point.
He did. He scored 16 as well.
God.
He is 7th on the list. He is ahead of Jamie Reid because his goals per game is 0.29 to Jamie Reid's 0.19 in League 2. As you can tell, we were prolific in that division.
Jesus.
So it's back to Greg.
League 2. So because we bounced straight up in the early days, didn't we? When we first came up, we went straight up into League 1. So who do we have up front around Teddy season? He was here a while. We'll try it. Chris Whelpdale.
Chris Whelpdale is on the list. He is 9th, also with 16 goals. He scored as many goals as Jamie Reid in League 2 for us.
Wow.
We're on to Aaron.
So what positions have we got left?
So you got 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 10th remaining.
Oh, surely Luke Norris.
Of course, he's second with 30 goals, tied with Matty Godden, but with a slightly lower goals per game ratio.
He hasn't scored that many, actually.
How many? 30?
30.
How many years was he here for?
It's only 2 or 3 maybe.
Of which 2 of his seasons would have been, well, 1 of his seasons would have been League One. And then he had a spell where he was injured for quite a while as well. So
yeah, that's true.
So 3rd, 5th, and 10th to go.
I am struggling. There's gonna be like a rogue defender in there. So I'm gonna go Carl Piergianni for 10th.
I'm afraid Carl Piergianni is 19th on the list with 7 goals. So that's both your lives gone. And it's with Aaron to see if he can fill the final places and pick up the extra points.
Pressure. 3rd, that's got to be someone. Can I ask how many goals is 10th? Like out? Does it?
I'll tell you that 9th is 16.
Oh, okay.
And if you think we had John Mousinho at 17th with 7, already guessed.
That doesn't help here at all, does it?
There's a range.
Yeah.
Does Jordan Roberts sneak in?
He does not. He's 12th with 10 goals. So that's you've got 1 life remaining to see if you can fill the final slots.
I'm going to kick myself with 3rd and 5th. Who else have we had? God, I'm really struggling. I'm trying to think of just strikers that we had at the start, but
really, the thing is, I was thinking the same, but I'm not. We went straight into League One after
exactly,
1 year.
yeah.
I don't think they scored many. They didn't score many of
Um,
the 2 strikers we had that year anyway.
But then we spent a lot of time in League Two when we came back down. I'll give you 5 more seconds.
Surely Alex Ravel didn't make it.
Oh, Alex Ravel did not make it, but he is 11th with 13 goals. So I'll go from 10th upwards. So number 10 was Charlie Lee, having scored 14 goals.
Yeah, he did score a few.
5th on the list, Tom Pett with 22.
Yeah, he was around for a while.
And number 3, I've got it. No one got this. Northern Irish legend of the borough.
Oh, of course.
Ben Kennedy scored 27 goals in League Two for us over his tenure with us. So
I would never guess he had 27, in fairness.
Genuinely forgot that guy existed.
So at the end of that round, we only managed to get 7 of the 10, and Aaron has 4, Greg has 3. So
closer than it should be.
We will go back to closest to on the appearance to see who goes first for the second round. And the next player up is Charlie Carter, Dorking Wanderers captain. You
can guess first this time.
He was so in and out of the team. Like, even though he had a couple of seasons here, he was just, you could never rely on him. I think it will be similar to Coca. I think it will be like, 65.
Okay.
See, I think it'd be less than that. He was injured quite a bit, wasn't he? I'm going to say, I could shit house you, but I'm not going to. 46.
Aaron is closest. It's 67.
That's way more than I would have thought.
So the next round, this one took me a while to pull together. It's countries represented for Stevenage FC outside of the UK and Ireland. So we've not got England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, or Ireland in this. The way that it is ranked is initially by number of players we've had from that country make an appearance for us. If it is tied, then it's based on total appearances. So what I will say is number 10 and number 11, we've had the same number of players represented represent those countries, but there are 2 appearances in it, which means one makes the 10 and one doesn't. So, Aaron, would you like to go first or second on this round?
I'll go second, actually. I'll
Okay.
want some more thinking time.
So, Greg, a country that has been represented by by players playing for Stevenage.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Antigua.
So, Antigua are not in the list.
No?
They are 12th because we've only had 1 player
Oh,
from
so it's based
Antigua.
on...
So it's based on number of players first and then the appearances.
Got you.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, I'll go France, surely.
France is top of the list. We've had 8 players from France play for us.
8?
We have. I can have a look at what players we have had. There are some great ones in there.
Literally all I can think of is Dabo. That's like the only thing that I
Well,
have in my mind.
Bira Dembele, Romain Vincelot, Miguel Dominguez, Umaro Tunkara, Armand Nine Gile, Timothy Lotuala, Sacha Bastian, and of course Dabo are the 8 French players. Back to Greg.
Got a couple, but I'm not sure which one to go with. I will go. So I've got a feeling we've had a few players in the past, but I'm not gonna risk that one yet. I'm gonna save it. Let's go Spain.
Spain is also not on the list.
Great, this is going really well for me.
So that's both your lives gone.
Cheers, Danny Lopez.
We've only actually had Danny Lopez.
Is that it?
Yes.
Really?
I'm amazed by that.
So Aaron, it's a clean run for potentially 9 more points.
Well, all I'm thinking now as well is Morocco, because we've just signed Gassa. So that adds to the list.
There's
So
at least 2 then.
Morocco is on the list with 2, but they are 8th. And yes, it is Ilyas Chair and Ghassan Ahadme. Where would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'm going to just go for the big countries. I'll go Italy.
Italy, I don't even think we've had an Italian.
Yeah, I just threw that out. I don't remember a
We
single
do
player.
not have an Italian, so that's your first life gone.
There's one. The one I was gonna. I'm not gonna say it, obviously, but the one I was gonna gamble on should definitely have done that because I think the one countries from the same family in a lot of cases.
So you say it's not UK or Ireland, right?
Not UK or Ireland.
I'm trying to think of just any foreign players. Surely we've had 2 German players, have we?
We have not. I don't even think we've had a single. We've had 1 German, sorry, in Max Amer. He's the only German we've actually had. So that is both your lives also gone.
So
we only managed to get 1 and 8 in that.
Nigeria is definitely on the list, surely.
So Nigeria, we've only had 1.
No, we've had because we've had Effie and Sam Sodji. They're both
well,
Nigerian.
This is based on Stevenage Football Archive. So anyway, so what we have in 10th is the Dominican Republic of Congo.
Blimey.
Because we have had Calvin Zola and Bez Labala.
Of course.
And that between them they have made 8 appearances. 9th on the list is New Zealand with Ben Falami and Tommy Smith.
Oh, Ben Falami, Jesus.
8th is Morocco. 7th is Canada, where we had both Marcus Haber and Simeon Jackson.
Yes, that's COVID times, wasn't it? Simeon Jackson, that was a disaster.
6th is Portugal. Surely you know at least one of our Portuguese legends. There's just 2 of them.
I don't acknowledge him. So,
but we have Bruno Andrade and then Philippe Moraes.
Oh, I don't acknowledge him either. Both absolute fucking idiots.
Now, You went for Antigua, but you probably should have gone for the other significantly capped player that we've had who recently left, because Guyana is actually on the list.
It was that was on my list as well, but I didn't.
Because,
I thought it would just be TVC. If I'm honest. Who
No,
else was there?
Anthony Jeffrey,
Oh, of course, yeah.
who made one
That's
appearance for
before your
us.
time, Aaron. That's well before your
Yeah,
time.
that's a name I have no idea.
In fourth is the United States of America
I
with
was going to go.
Robbie
Oh,
Rogers, Jonathan
Robbie Rogers, yeah.
Tompkinson, and Don Cowan.
I thought he was Irish.
Well, it came up as he was from the USA.
Blimey.
And then in what we up to now, third is Cameroon with the absolute icon that is Patrick Adjumang, Guy Maggio, and Steve Belleck. And I was surprised by second, but when I then look at the list, it makes sense. Second is Jamaica. So we had Joe McAnuff, Craig Dobson, Jamal Campbell-Rice, Jamil Matt, and Jamal Loza.
Yeah, that does make sense.
5. And then France topped the list. So after that round, Aaron scored 2 more points, Greg none. So it's now 6-3 to Aaron heading into the final round. Our final player for closest to appearances is the one and only gaffer, Alex Ravel. So I think, Greg, if you guess first, seeing as you're behind.
I'll go with... I'll say he's been there for 3 years. I'll say 92.
Aaron.
No, I think it's the lowest out of all three actually that we've had. I think it's like 52.
You'd be correct, Aaron. It is 54.
Oh,
close.
So the final category is this. I'll tell you the category, but there is then a different rule for how you can score points here. So, Greg, you could completely whitewash Aaron now.
Great.
Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
So it's current EFL clubs with either town, athletic, or borough in their names, and it is in order of the total points we have won off of those clubs.
Jesus Christ.
In the EFL. So the difference in the rule here is you score points based on the position that they're in. If you get first, you just get 1 point. But if they're 10th, you get 10 points. There is one club out of my list. There is a total of 15 clubs that you could possibly choose. There is one club that we have never played in the league. If you hit them, you're losing 5 points. So, with that in mind, Aaron, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first this time. Why not? Town, borough, or athletic, right?
Yes.
Who do we always...
Current EFL clubs.
I'll go with... I'm not even sure how many times I've played them, but Cheltenham Town.
Cheltenham Town are second on the list. That's 2 points. We have won 10 games, drawn 4 and lost 5, taking home a total of 34 points off of Cheltenham Town. Greg.
Just have to beat them once.
You just have to have beaten them once, but there are 15 teams and only 10 will win you points. But you do want number 10.
Oh, so sorry. Oh, you want number 10?
You want to try and get number 10.
I know, you want the obscure one, basically.
Right. Oh, I've gone with who's beaten the most. Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go Oldham Athletic.
They are not a current EFL club, and therefore you get
nothing.
In League 2.
They're in League 2.
My list is wrong. We'll do a fact check and I'll see where they'll get. Oldham.
I think that's all the points, and we call it there, right? Anyway, let's talk about Wickham on Saturday.
Do you know how long it took me to do this one? And I just didn't even fact check my initial list. It's because Oldham are irrelevant anyway.
That's very true. That's fair.
Right, how many points have we taken?
I'm not even
off?
100% convinced we've beaten them, to be honest with you. But I was just like trying to go with teams that I don't feel like we get many points from.
We actually have beaten them quite a bit.
Have we? Okay.
Yeah. So they will enter the. Luckily, it doesn't change what we've already got. They will go into 7th with 18 points that we've won off them. So you will get 7 points.
This feels incredibly unfair on Aaron. He's absolutely nailed this quiz, and
He
now
was-
I'm
he
coming
was-
in with 7 points for older athletic.
I'll be honest. I completely made this list on the foundation that the last round would be everything anyway.
So, hashtag robbed you are, mate. Anyway,
right. Well, I'll go another athletic. I'll go Wigan Athletic.
Wigan Athletic. They do not make the top 10. We've only taken 7 points off them with 2 wins and 1 draw, and then losing 1 game. So that is your first life gone.
Town, I think. Okay, I'll go. Not exciting, but Mansfield Town.
Mansfield Town are up in 3rd, so that's 3 points for you. We have actually played them 23 times, winning just 26 points. 7 wins, 5 draws, 11 losses.
I was going to say, I don't ever feel like, certainly away from home, I don't feel like we ever really win up there.
Yeah, another one I hate away from home, Northampton Town.
Northampton Town. They are in there, and they're in there in 6th.
Don't mind it.
18 points as well off of them. Weirdly, we've won 5, drawn 3, and again lost 11 against them. I thought we would have been a bit more even on the wins and losses there, but
I'm going to go Swindon Town.
Swindon Town. They are in the top 10. They are 9th.
Oof.
We have only taken 14 points off of Swindon Town, 4 wins, 2 draws, and 7 losses.
So I'm basically good at knowing the teams we never win against. So that's good. I know my place.
So we still have number 1, number 4, number 5, number 8, and number 10 up for grabs. There's still some big points to win.
These are wins that we only have in the EFL. So if we've beaten them in the conference, it doesn't count, right?
Yes.
You don't seem confident.
I'll fire out Shrewsbury Town. They've got to be there.
They are there. They are in 5th.
Oh,
And that is with 20 points, 6 wins, 2 draws, 6 losses. If any of these stats are wrong, I'm blaming Soccer Base.
I'm going to go, and I've got a feeling this might be, I don't know, will it be the 10th or will it sit outside? I'm going to go with it. We've already played them, I'm pretty sure, in 1 season. Fleetwood Town.
Fleetwood Town are not in the top 10. We've played them twice, which was in that 1 season where we won and we drew. So we've only actually taken 4 points off them.
Too niche.
So that is another there's a Greg life gone.
What positions have we still got, Phil?
1, 4, 8, and 9.
I think Crawley Town are first, so I'm not putting on. That's not my guess. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. I keep thinking Crawley Town. Who's a bit more obscure? Town. Struggling there.
5, 4.
I'm just going to go Huddersfield
3.
Town. I don't even know if we've beaten them, to be honest.
Huddersfield Town are not in the top 10 because no, we have not beaten them. We've lost 4 games, drawn 1. So that is Aaron's lives gone. Greg, can you fill in the final 4 positions?
Luton Town. Have you said Luton?
Luton have not been said, but they are in the list in 8th. 14 points, 4 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses.
Is there any more athletics? Is it just Oldham? I know you didn't even have Oldham, did you? There isn't. It must be.
There is, but not. There is 2 more athletics.
That's the real quiz. Name the athletics. Grimsby? Are they town? They're town, aren't they?
Grimsby Town FC. They are 4th. 24 points we've taken off of them. 7 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. So now you just need 1 and 10 to fill the list.
Okay, one's going to be Crawley.
Correct.
Why didn't I just guess Crawley?
I was going to say you could have stayed in the game then.
I was all right. I'll give up.
So who do you think 10th is?
Is it just 10th left?
Just 10th left now.
So it's got who's gone? I'm trying to think who's gone down because I can't think of any other towns or reflecting. No, can't think of anyone else.
Are you taking your second life?
I'll take my second life. Go on.
10th that would have got you 10 points is Harrogate Town.
Oh,
Jesus.
3 wins, 3 draws, 12 points. Nothing to
never
worry
have
about.
guessed we played them that much. I would have said they played them maybe 1 or 2 seasons, like Fleetwood. But...
Can you guess what team that is currently in the EFL with the name of Town Athletic Borough that we've never actually played in the league that would have lost you 5 points? Keynote, we've never played them in the league.
And they're an EFL team.
EFL team.
Yes.
Ipswich?
Yes. It is Ipswich. So the scores on the doors after that storming final round of crazy points. Greg ended on 35. Aaron, you ended on 19. So Greg, you are the winner of today's.
Yeah, you've been robbed there, Aaron. I'm not taking that. It's like...
I would actually like to say that if each of those teams was also only worth 1 point, it actually would have ended 9-all.
Oh, really?
So
football is the winner.
Football is the real winner.
There you go. All right, well, let's get on to hopefully a win this Saturday. Wycombe. We're talking about how they've struggled so far. This is kind of feels like a bit of a perfect opportunity to bounce back from Saturday with how they've played. So they've had 2 draws so far. 1 at home to Reading and away to Doncaster. 3 defeats: Exeter, Bradford, and Stockport. So, I mean, they've had arguably a tough start. There's some teams there that have started the season pretty well. But they're going to be Dodds will be under some pressure. I think coming into this is a game that their fans definitely ain't going to want to come away and lose from. And yeah, perfect opportunity for us to bounce back. How do we see that game going, Nick?
I'm going to be reserved for this because I said Port Vale we're going to go 2-0 up within the first half and then we're going to cruise, and that was complete opposite of what happened. I think it will be a very similar to affair to the Rotherham game. I actually probably see us going in 0-0 at half time, but we should be fairly in control of that fixture. Wycombe, I've never rated Dodds. I never will. And to be honest, their squad, it feels like they're lacking, especially with Kode moving on. So I'm not expecting them to be too much of a threat on our goal. It's more, can we start quickly, which is what we did at Blackpool, which is what we did at Rotherham at home, to really put them on the back foot. If we start slowly again, like we have probably the last few games, I can see it being a bit of a struggle, but hopefully we'd still see it through. But yeah, I will not do what I did at Port Vale and say we're going to go 4-1 up. I won't do that.
Yeah, definitely don't tweet that, whatever you do. We have to revoke your access again.
Surely the jinx is broken now.
I don't know. I'm just going to play with it as long as I can. Sorry, Aaron, go on.
No, I just think Dodds hasn't been there long, but he's under a lot of pressure already. Their fans are expecting quite a lot this season, and they're not getting it so far. So I think confidence on our side will still be high after Saturday. I don't think there's any reason for them to be knocked on that. So yeah, good opportunity just to get under Wycombe's skin a bit and play our football, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of the ball than we did on Saturday, and we can actually play our game.
We salvaged a pretty late draw in a local derby against Reading at the weekend, scoring in the 89th minute. But the start they've had has definitely not been great. And I think I said before the season started, Dodds, I wouldn't be surprised if he was gone by October, and nothing I've seen so far really changed that. In terms of for us though, and from a lineup perspective, I wouldn't expect too many changes. I think seems like a settled 11. Obviously, Phoenix and Chem have switched places the last couple of games, but outside of that, it feels like the team kind of writes itself at the moment. Do you expect any changes?
I doubt it. I mean, we've seen the odd switch on the bench, and it might be if I don't even think Jake Young will be back for Saturday, but it might be if he's available, he's an addition for the attacking options. Yeah, I think it's always going to come down to, is it going to be Chem or Phoenix at the moment, isn't it? Judging by Saturday, I wonder if he goes Phoenix, just because he looked really bright, especially when we were in a lot of possession. Chem looked a little bit off it. I was surprised that he wasn't going off when Roberts did. But beyond that, yeah, you can't. Back four doesn't change. You're probably not changing any of those midfield two until Louis Thompson's back at the moment. So yeah,
we've said it a couple of times, but I think I prefer Phoenix just off the bench. I think he just gives those extra legs in the last 20 minutes where you can give him the ball and come up against tired defenders. I think that's kind of our biggest asset really off the bench. So I think for me, I'd keep Chem as in the starting 11. And yeah, if he's not up to it after 6 minutes, bring him off for Phoenix and it gives something new. But yeah, no changes for me, I think.
Yeah, Phoenix was brilliant off the bench in the last home game we had. Then started against Port Vale and was pretty much anonymous the entire time. So I agree with you. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see the same 11 that we saw against Huddersfield with Phoenix definitely on the bench. I do think we need another attacking option on the bench, and whenever that might be, with Jake Young coming back in, and I think that's definitely needed. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see more or less the same team, and hopefully see some more fans in the ground as well. We're getting to that point now where kids are about to go back to school, so it'd be good to be able to hopefully get a decent crowd in, because it's definitely felt like the first couple of games was a little bit quieter, which is not a huge surprise with people being away and so on and so forth. But yeah, it'd be nice to pack the Lamex out, hopefully.
And I think results drive so much of your attendance figures that, yes, we lost away at Huddersfield, but 4 wins out of 5 there's plenty of people that aren't Stevenage fans or even local that have been keeping an eye on us over the last couple of weeks. So you'd like to think that would bring in additions to the crowd anyway. The important thing is then when they come that we perform on the pitch and provide some entertainment, which the way we're playing this season looks like we're definitely going to do that. So hopefully we'll see the attendance numbers of the good old promotion season before we know it.
Absolutely. No, fingers crossed for sure. Anything else on the Wycombe game?
No, just that we hate Wycombe.
Of course we do.
Do you want to do a prediction?
We could do a prediction. Yeah, let's do a prediction. Go on then, Aaron.
Yeah, but, I think we'll win. I think I'll go 2-0.
Nick?
What game did I do it for when? I don't know. I've got to do one that is definitely not going to happen so that I can't jinx it. 6-0 Stevenage.
I mean, you're definitely jinxing it. I think it's going to be very cagey. I think Wycombe aren't going to come here and necessarily attack, and they were very good down our place in the last couple of years or so. But I think it's going to be a very different game. I'm going to say 1-0 Borough. I think we'll just scrape a winner in the last 20 minutes.
Nate must be ill. He must be ill. He's being way too optimistic.
Is that optimism?
Nate predicted 3-0. I'll have what he's having.
Good stuff. Extra strong cowpole. That's what that is.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Cool. Well, look, fingers crossed. 3-0. I take all day long, even though because Wycombe have been pretty poor, but I think it's going to be a cagey one this weekend. I don't expect the floodgates to open. That's for sure. Cool. Right. Well, that's it for this week. We'll hopefully be back next Monday with a win, 3-0, according to Nate. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias Twitter, X, whatever it's called nowadays. We're pretty much everywhere. Like and subscribe. Oh no, Nick, that's your job. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page. Your job.
Hit the notification bell.
That's the one. That's the one. But until next Monday, we'll be back at 8:30 on YouTube if you watch live, or the following morning if you listen back on Spotify, like most people, like me. But yeah, up the Borough. Someone needs to woo because Pat's not
Woo?
There we go. Are we doing this or?
Pat never been more ashamed than that right there. Oh, jeez.
It needs a question mark in that.